We are live. This is the FOMC preview, up only market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Did you see a dip yesterday? Have you acted on it? Do you want to act on it? You should. If you want to know more and you want to see the bigger the base, the higher in the space chart package, stay right here. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, hit the like button. If the content works for you, or if it doesn't work for you, leave a comment. We read the comments. We want to hear what you have to say so we can give you the best analytical research and news experience possible. Let's say hello to who's on the stream. I saw Bull Runner pop in there first. Welcome. Rugby Performance Labs, SFG, hello. Right? Mike Rocks, wrong again. Richard Barry from Augusta, Georgia. Right? Robin is here. Welcome. Oklahoma in the house. Chris from Omaha. Sleazy Minx, an NFT artist out there. Welcome. Right? We have Chineme. How you doing? Zoran from Croatia, Amsterdam in the house. Hopefully not too late there, right? Spin is in. Hold a door. First like out there. 33 people here. Welcome. Welcome. Right? Wrong again. Robin, Shizzy L, Krishna, the sports hobbyist. Starting to snow in Jersey. Big love from Boston. Bavaria in the house. Nothing like a little German beer with lunch. Oliver, welcome to the show. Okay, I'm cracking into the news right now. By the way, this is the Cardano monthly chart. You want to stay tuned so you can see. I can tell you how unbelievably great that is. It's time for the scientific community to admit ... Let me ask you something. Who's in control of your life? You or someone else? Who's in control of your finances? You or someone else? Does crypto provide freedom? Yes or no? Stay tuned. We'll drive it home. The biggest risk to the market is no recession at all in 2023. People are so fascinated with this idea that the Fed has to continue to hike rates and hike rates and hike rates and hike rates. They're addicted to it. Legacy is addicted to the rate hike disaster porn, and crypto is still addicted to FTX and friends. Everything is about what can go wrong. Nobody is saying, you know what, stocks should go up because the Fed's done. I haven't heard one person say that. Now, that's not necessarily the camp I'm in. I'm in the camp of the Fed is done and crypto's going up. Crypto's already going up and people are in denial. But people are just addicted to, oh, it's the Fed. Oh, it's a rate hike. Oh, it's inflation. It's a recession. It's not a recession. Something's wrong out there, right? When the Fed hikes rates, something breaks, period. Whether it creates a recession or not, if you lose your job, you know somebody that loses your job, you love someone who loses their job, does it really matter what economists have to say? Let's go to LinkedIn. Let's talk about crypto, freedom. Ugh, I lost the post. Saw a post from somebody on LinkedIn this morning that said, I'm in human resources and my feed is filled with people who are losing their jobs in the tech industry. The Fed is done. They don't have to admit it this week. Okay. Frankly, I would prefer they didn't admit it this week. It would dip and the crypto would just ignore them and just go up only. I think it's going up only anyway. The question is, do you get some sort of flash dip first? Judge rules that the identity of two parties who backed Sam Bankman-Fried's big bail can be revealed. Front page news, right? We can't get off of this. This guy just has to go away. This is not crypto. This is crypto, right? Cardano monthly chart, right? Like, how much real estate do we have to go up? No one is asking that. Everyone's still talking about this. This guy will go down in history as creating the buying opportunity of a lifetime in many coins, particularly since crypto is a known mechanism for both freedom, financial stability, and innovation. Remember that? Innovation? Like tech stocks back in the day. Ordinals launches NFTs on Bitcoin, unsurprisingly sparking controversy. Everybody wants to get DeFi and NFTs on Bitcoin. The sooner, the better. You add a little utility to that network and you could ignite the whole space. The fact that someone is actually trying is bullish. 105-year-old German bank readies crypto services offering. Okay. Noting that they're offering it to their institutional clients, and bigwig interest isn't slowing. You can substitute bigwig for anybody who's like, I don't know, read an economics book, knows about the value of money, understands that the need for diversification. Diversification has been taught since, I don't know, a long time ago, since academic finance was like something you could major in. Funny how nobody talks about diversifying their purchasing power. They only talk about their financial assets or their portfolio. No one talks about diversifying like their cash holdings, where you need to have Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, gold, silver, Swiss francs, euro, dollar, right? You need to have all of these things. All of them. And big people know this. U.S. Watchdog identifies $5.4 billion in fraudulent loans. But crypto is a scam, right? Whatever. FTX sister firm Alameda hits Voyager with a $446 million lawsuit. I think the only people who win in this process is lawyers, people who have no money suing people that have no money. Again, I understand these people have a job to do, but this is the news, not this. They don't want to be left in the past. 82% of millionaires are not deterred from crypto in the wake of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX collapse. So one thing you'll see on today's thumbnail is that we included Jerome Powell and we included a big pickle with a rocket pack on. Jerome Powell has a big pickle in that crypto is going to rally in his face no matter what he says. So he can pivot or he can watch the pickle go to the moon and beyond. The other big pickle is the millionaires out there know that they got to have money in crypto. They got to be able to move money outside traditional payment networks just as a common sense thing. You might have to have some money in Ethereum in case you wanted to diversify into art. In the NFT market, which no one thinks is coming back, which I think is absolutely dead wrong. This says nothing about how you're going to transact and do commerce inside the metaverse. That's right, the metaverse. Like I'm looking at Apecoin and I'm like, this leads me to believe that there's a whole host of bigger the base, the higher in the space charts out there. Fantom was the first one. I got 8 more. Don't go anywhere. Millionaires want crypto. So if ETH goes to 1450 on some Fed dump, or hedge funds actually try to push it down to trigger stops so they can literally hoover up whatever capitulation is out there or take it from whatever short sellers are out there. This is who you're selling your crypto to, right? So you could have 3 days of people going, you know what? We're sick of the Fed. We want freedom. Let's go. Let's go. You know, that could go on for like 4 days. I mean, it's almost like, you know, you go to the gym and you get all sweaty, or maybe it's something like your car breaks down and you have to walk home and you finally get there and you're like, oh, it's finally over, right? When an ordeal is finally over, what do? There's like a huge sigh of relief. The sigh of relief is that crypto can go up and just go up because these guys are there to take your crypto on a dip. They took it yesterday. Okay. I like this. Certain people in wealthy areas in the United States don't want low-income housing projects. I like this picture, right? You know, it's going to threaten our water supply. It's not safe. We're just fine if you continue to be poor. You know what? With me, it's not all right for someone to continue to be poor. People watch this show and come to crypto because they want to be free. And the best way to get free is to have enough money to pay your bills, take care of your kids, and be happy. Do those people want you to be happy? I'm guessing no. Speaking of people who don't want you to be happy, supposedly the New York Times lauds the benefits of China's strict censorship and mass surveillance. Let me ask you something about this picture. So this is your Chinese communist dictator. You know, you could take his head off this, and how many world leaders or heads of corporations could you stick on here? Silicon Valley, Wall Street, Congress, U.S. presidents. Who's in charge of your life? This guy? Whatever. Not with crypto around. Speaking with crypto around, just can't resist this. The Great Reset, right? Siemens chairman calls for billions of people to stop eating meat at the World Economic Forum. So let's just think about this for a second. You've probably heard about this. Let's just think about it. They want you to stop eating meat. And Ethereum is at 1,500. So how do we tell this guy that he could take his little program where he eats steak on a private jet and you eat bugs? And how can we tell him to just go shove it? Well, it's very simple. Take the mechanism of freedom, crypto, and moon it. And let these guys sit there and go, wow, looks like people mean business, right? People with money, people without money, people who need to get water from one place to the other, like BARC, the Gold Retriever universe where I work for, right? Who runs the world? This guy wants you to stop eating meat. Does he want you to not get water too? Or do you have to not eat meat to get the water, or not eat meat to be able to get the money to pay your bills, or not eat meat to get unemployment insurance if you lose your job? Like, yeah, it's funny. He doesn't want you to eat meat, but, you know, what's next? What car you drive, what city you live in, how many bedrooms you can have in your apartment. Yeah. Okay, guys. No. And the way we're going to show these guys no is that Powell's going to open his mouth and say, I don't even care what he says. He either says, sorry, I tightened too much, up only. Sorry, I'm going to continue tightening, down, and then up only. Can you tell I have a strong view on the subject? EU approves powdered crickets for use in flour-based foods for consumption by the general population. You know, they are really determined on this. I don't know what was going on with sort of like the way we handled a certain pandemic and things like that. You know, that's all debatable and outside the world of crypto. But somebody who thinks that they're going to control you, you look at Ethereum, you look at the screen, you look at Bitcoin like, I don't know, 10% away from its 2017 high and go, you know what? I don't really want to do crypto. Like, this guy scared me off. Like, what's scarier? The idea that this guy could scare you off. You know, I missed Bitcoin at 22K because of this idiot. Okay. Or I didn't buy crypto when they were telling us we were going to eat bugs. The bugs to me are scarier than SBF. The bugs, all of these bugs are telling you to buy crypto. Crazy, right? Not really. Okay, I'm just going to leave this Cardano monthly chart up here because I like it so much when I talk to everybody in the chat. I like it. Coffee Farts reminding you to hit the like. Welcome. AZ is here. He got here late, but don't worry. He's not too late. He's not too early. He's right on time, as are you. If you're new to the show or new to crypto, or you've been here over a long time, welcome. Right? Steve J is here. Right? Centralization equals bankruptcy and war. Right? Wrong again is here. Lucas is here. Wants to know, when will the Russia-Ukraine war finish? Love questions like this. Love questions like this. So let's pull up wheat futures. Let's maybe look at a weekly chart. Okay, here I'm experimenting with some new analytical methods. I talked some about that yesterday. It's a new type of work where, you know, they use GAN analysis. Interesting stuff. So this is Wheat Weekly. This was 2019 all the way up to last year's high in March. Okay. The 62% retracement on wheat is 778. Want to know when the Ukraine war ends? When this makes a massive new high. The Chinese can't take it anymore. You want pasta in Italy? It's gluten-free. The Ukraine war ends when wheat makes a new high, and wheat might make a new high because there's a big bang. Right? Eventually, somebody gets pushed to the point where somebody launches something big. So my guess is the Ukraine-Russia war ends with some sort of tactical nuclear exchange in the fall. Okay? Or the Big Bang is related to China and Taiwan. I think food brings all parties to the negotiating table. Wheat makes a new high. Okay? And the UN gets everybody at the negotiating table. I know. I said the UN, maybe not the UN as in the organization itself. The world gets these guys to the negotiating table, or the world makes a decisive view to end the war. Either way, it ends this year. Okay. Anon is here. Spin. Farmer Sam Forrest, encouraging you to hit the like button. We appreciate that. Okay. JP Stanley wants to know, what are the best ribbon indicators to use on TradingView? I'm not necessarily a ribbon indicator guy, although I will look into it. For VIX, I like Bollinger Bands. So if that's what we mean by a ribbon, okay. So frequently when VIX, which is a fear measure in equities, when it closes outside the bottom Bollinger Band, stocks usually go down. That hasn't happened yet. When Bollinger Bands close above the top and then come back in, Bollinger Bands, you know, help you figure out what's like sort of emotional or not using statistics. So when we get emotional on the upside and there's too much fear, and then fear normalizes, fear collapses, equities rise. I think they're selling fear here. The fact that this did not make equities go down, to me, is really interesting. I mean, Powell's probably going to come in and talk all tough tomorrow, but, you know, you could have a sideways range in equities. Now, speaking of that, Let's pull up the other indicator that I like using just to figure out like where we are in terms of like ribbons and things like that, or at least ranges. If I'm reading this correct, the question correctly, like I like this linear regression function, right? It's right here in TradingView. And don't worry, folks, we are going to have charts today, so don't worry. Linear regression channel. Okay, stocks are in this channel. This is probably the range until March. And I wouldn't be surprised if it just stuck to this 4,000 line. This is S&P 500 cash. Okay. Okay, so yeah, somebody wants me to check on APPH. So this is in the BARC water trading universe. I think it's low yield. It's farming with low water usage. Okay. So APPH was down only, and now it's trying to leave its recent downtrend. I think the key level in APPH, because again, this is on the water theme, right, is right here. Will the ceiling, the former floor, excuse me, at 249 become the new ceiling? Here, it got anywhere near it, and they just killed it. The water story is epic. I mean, we have analysts at Gold Retriever writing night and day, okay, bringing Chat GPT into the mix to summarize all of the information we have about the coming crisis in both water and about the possible parabolic in commodities. APPH is an equity market play along those lines because it's farming with less water. So if water becomes precious or has to have an organized market, which is what BARC does, okay, APPH would benefit. So that's where that comes from. Okay, if we go to DEX tools, I can just briefly bring up BARC. So just so you know, BARC is part of the GLDN universe. GLDN is a native commodities trading token, like ETH is for Uniswap. So if you have GLDN, you can take GLDN on Uniswap and turn it into this, BARC. What's BARC going to do? Well, it's going to be a water pricing token. So when you buy a metric ton of water, you'll pay in BARC. You're like, I don't understand that. Well, do you understand if you buy an NFT, you pay in ETH, right? Okay, in this, when you buy water, you'll buy BARC. And who needs to buy water? Well, everybody. Middle East. Everybody in the Middle East. Matter of fact, the big geopolitical think tank came out recently and said, you know, here's a 10-page report on water. That water in the Middle East is going to become an issue. By the way, this company that makes BARC, Gold Retriever, it's where I work. I own the token. They have water rights to get pristine blue glacier water out of Greenland to anybody who wants to buy it, like the people in Arizona who got their tap shut off. And we're going to use a blockchain mechanism and BARC to price it to stay out of the fiat shredding machine. So thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Gary Gensler is here. Welcome. Right? Jazz Gill from Australia. Robert Wiley says this is the year to stay in May. That's right. You know they're going to shake the tree. The question is, can you stay in? Can you find an entry point that allows you to either stay in or add at reasonable prices? Because like everything, it's not easy. It's not, bull markets are not easy. Like yesterday, it looked like it was going to zero. And I was like, you know what? No fear. Okay, so let's go to market update slideshow. Not investment advice. And then we're taking a look at the price action in Fantom. Jesus, right? It's up only, but it didn't just get that way by itself. Fantom went down only back on Celsius. Then it did a base, which of course bores everybody. No one likes bases. They're incredibly discouraging. Last base I remember like these formations was back in 2019, early 2020. And I was on a live stream with my old boss. We just said over and over and over and over again, the bigger the base, the higher in the space. And there was no way ETH was going to stay at 300 or 200 after going sideways for like the entire bear market. Same thing with Fantoms. An 8-hour chart. It's probably going back to $1.50. You got to remember, if there are catalysts out there in the altcoin world, this is a key question. My girlfriend asked me. She's like, why do we need more than one coin? Every country has its own currency. Okay, I get Bitcoin, but why do we need more than one coin? Because there's more than one network, more than one investing opportunity, and more than one story out there. Right? Lord Junta is in the house. Welcome. Okay. PERP. Sort of like the pain child for me of the last bull market and subsequent collapse, right? Love this idea of decentralized derivatives. You know, people got hosed in this so bad, I can't even talk about it. I think this hit Binance. It went to $16. Now it's at like 69 cents. Clear rounding bottom. I mean, the day that Wall Street goes to the decentralized derivatives world, somebody's going to win. Now, do these guys have the tokenomics to do that? DYDX may be better. Don't have that chart. But God, when you look at these things, right? When you're looking at charts, you're like, hey, let's pull up an 8-hour. Let's pull up a daily. Let's pull up a weekly. Do we see a base or a rounding bottom? XRP, right? This is nothing more than a giant base. XRP has been in this formation since May. And if they ever get out of this formation, this thing is just gone, right? All the talk about XRP all these years, they finally built the base to launch this into space. They finally built it. Doge is the same thing, right? There are all these coins that have these big followings, right? And these followings have had to just sort of sit around and, okay, you know, let's put out a bullish tweet, but, you know, we're just sitting here watching paint dry. And this goes to the whole idea about bull markets in general, which is that not everything rallies at the same time. And everyone's like, well, the Fed and macro, and, you know, I can't get involved because I have to wait for the macro to turn. The macro has already turned. What hasn't turned is the news media and the government officials. Crypto, luckily, because it's free, can reflect reality faster than the media and governments. Okay. Kent is here. Welcome. Okay. Wrong again was talking about how LBRY had a win and was not a security. Okay. Spin is like coins with the use case will win. FXS. I'm sure the fundamentals on this are debatable, but the bigger the base, the higher in the space dynamics is not debatable. I mean, this is absolute down only. This is probably a combination of Luna and Celsius. I mean, if this thing ever came back into vogue, and again, every dip's being bought. I had some work that showed 9.7 is support, and if they held that, there's a shot at 14. So they're doing this like back and forth consolidation. But God, I was like, you know, when you zoom this out, I mean, you got to ask yourself, if this coin and related coins that are making these formations unwind these declines, where's Bitcoin and Ethereum if that happens? Speaking of Bitcoin, just as a reminder, using things like harmonics, GAN lines, presets on TradingView. Okay, I drew this formation. It's called an ABCD formation. That's just what they label it as. So it's not Elliot Wave. It's a combination of Fibonacci, and I think there's a little GAN in here. Okay, so these lines should be a certain distance apart from each other. And I try to use them to project out in time where price should be. And then I use the Fibonacci circle analysis to say, when should we get there? So I'm doing my homemade price and time. How about a parabolic move starting in April in Bitcoin that gets you to 55K? Who's talking about that on YouTube? Who's talking about that on YouTube? Nobody. Nobody. Okay, which is why I like talking about it. Okay, let's go to the requests. Okay, so Steve J is talking about how CNBC and groups like that don't always give you the best information. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so Wall Street is out weighing in on the Fed. Not sure I can get this one up here. Morgan Stanley, Fed unlikely to signal the end of the tightening cycle. Of course they're not going to signal it. Of course not. Why would they do that? They would have to say, oh, we're wrong. Well, I'm not sharing screen. Okay, so again, Morgan Stanley, Fed unlikely to end tightening cycle. Yes, we know. We know. Which is why if you get the dip, take it. Okay, so here's Ethereum on a 90-minute chart. And here's what I think is happening. So when you're in a range-bound environment with DeMark, okay, my Instagram, I think, is going to feature crypto.noble. We're going to post a picture of the book that, I learned DeMark from. So ETH will go up, make a 9 top. So these are like mini trends inside of a range. It makes a 9 top. It goes down. It makes a 9 bottom. They stop everyone out. It goes up. It makes a 9 top. People probably want to try to buy strength, but who knows? Maybe it goes back down again. I don't know. Fed times are really weird periods for people in TA. What I do know is when we get done with this, if we go back to the GAN analysis, so we got all forms of stuff here on the market update. So this is a snapshot of a hand-drawn chart of ETH. There's 3 levels here. 1575 is support. So if ETH is above 1575, everything is okay, and you're set up for a launch. How do you know that? Well, when you draw the various angles, right, where you draw like, I don't know, say 10 boxes over and 10 boxes up. That's an example. That's how you draw the angles on the graph paper. You just locate areas where the angles intersect. Well, we've got 2 big angle intersections, but we haven't had the big move. Normally, that's what happens. So there's a big move coming. Now, my opinion, it goes to 1460. You could get a flush to 1460. If it prints 1460 and comes back above 1575, it's up only for days. For days. Okay. In other words, if they actually hit it, if whoever owns it all of a sudden pukes it, this 1460 is a big GAN point. So if it hits 1460 and starts to go up vertically, it's going to keep going up. The same is true with 1750. This comes from another GAN instrument. There also happens to be a GAN angle there. If ETH goes through 1700 or 1750, it's like blue sky. There's nothing on the chart to stop it here. And yeah, that sounds far away, but is it? Is it? Right? Like if we go to ETH and we go to ETH daily and we pull this up, I mean, ETH was at 4,000 and it's been trading between 800 and 2,000 since May. Like nothing has happened down here. This is a GAN DeMark combo. What happens? Okay. Just curious. What happens if this 13 top is not a top? What happens if you get the signal and it doesn't turn ETH down? Okay. Let's look at the monthly chart back over here. Because this matters, right? Today is the last day in a month. So every live stream will likely feature, you know, monthly charts that you'll see, or they should. Okay. Monthly Ethereum. Here was the 13 top in April, where I was like, get out of this market. Okay. I took the entire month to get through, and then boom, right? You had 2 months. You had 1 month to get out, and then it just crashed. And this is, you got 1 month to get in before it goes the other way. Because this is the 9 bottom, okay? And this moving average held, and this is going to start counting the other way. Now, you don't know if this thing is going to go gap up to 2,000 and then correct. Yeah, there will be some sort of correction. There always is a correction. The question is, how far can they stretch it on the upside before the correction happens? And are people too worried about a correction and not worried enough about the fact that crypto gets you out of the bug-eating category? You can buy Ethereum and be a caveman or a cave woman, or you can eat bugs and be dinosaur food. I would prefer the people who watch the show to be cavemen, cave women, or cave people. Bitcoin on a monthly chart, we're not doing bugs. We're not. Okay, so here you have a DeMark 0 on Elliot Wave, meaning uptrend over. Here you have the 0 on the downside, meaning downtrend over. Bitcoin is taking out an important DeMark moving average on a monthly closing basis as of tonight. January is a reversal month. In equities, they say as January goes, the whole year goes. So let's just, for laughs, let's just move over to equities and see what's going on the monthly S&P chart. Let's see if they managed an up close. Oh, there we go. So they managed to get themselves a up January. And here's what no one's talking about. Okay. So in equities, if you look at the D wave, the wave 1 up started way back in 2011. Then you had wave 2 down, which was COVID. You had wave 3 up, which was perma QE. You have wave 4 down. So, you know, they're going to print money forever. They're going to raise rates forever. We go back and forth, back and forth. Equities do a simple 50% retracement. Equities perch themselves on top of the 38% retracement of the monthly charts. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the wild assertion. What happens if companies figure out that cost cutting is the way to go and so many people lose their jobs that companies are actually able to maintain earnings or beat earnings or play accounting games to beat earnings while the Fed looks at what they've done and goes, oh no, we hiked rates too much. And they either have to leave rates alone or everybody just expects that they're going to have to cut them. Or maybe there's no recession at all. Maybe growth maintains itself. Inflation just normalizes. No one's talking about that. I mean, what happens if everything stays the same and inflation just goes down? Nobody expected inflation to go up, and now nobody expects it to go down. Wouldn't it be funny if the Fed overhikes, inflation goes down? Equities love it when inflation goes down. This actually shows equities could make a new high. This is why I'm so bullish on crypto. Because if this hootenanny can go up, well, crypto can go up. I mean, nobody is talking about a new high in equities. Now, I think if you did get a new high in equities, you should be headed for the door, like massively. But if there's a new high in equities, Bitcoin's going to be at 60K, period. Period. Right? Mel K is here, right? Thinks BARC is life-changing. It is. It's going to be life-changing for people to invest in water infrastructure, right? I'm hoping this is a series of like ones and twos where you get these like initial moves, correction, initial move, correction, initial move, correction. The first order that comes in for BARC, the first order that comes in for water paid with BARC, and this is gone. This is why I'm out looking. This is why I have this chart. This is why I had the ones in the market update on the PowerPoint showing, hey, what hasn't gone up yet? I can't believe I forgot to put Apecoin in what hasn't gone up yet. Let's just do Apecoin. I'm really interested in this metaverse thing. You know, and I don't know if I got the right one. I just remember the FOMO on this. And I just can't resist thinking about what happens if this is just a very simple weekly chart, or maybe we can use a daily chart, right? Down only, base. If that's a 9 top and this is the correction off the 9 top, and then this thing resumes, is it overbought? Probably. It went from 3 to 6. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, a guy no one talks about anymore. MicroStrategy started the whole rally around 114 in August of 2020. The December low was 132. You got a 9 bottom. It started to count the other way, and then you have a reversal on the 4 count. This is not in the DeMark book. I say MicroStrategy to 700. Okay. Someone wants to look at RNDR. Definitely think you have to look at stuff like this now. Oh my God. Is this right? Maybe I got a data issue here. Okay. So 4-hour chart of RNDR doesn't seem to be stopping. And this is like what I'm talking about, right? 9 top, 9, 6, 13 top, no one cares. Up only. 9 top, everyone takes profits, but that's the dip. Okay, that's the dip. And then the trend may restart itself. You could be looking at 10 more up days in render. This is metaverse infrastructure, right? Selling picks and shovels to people who want to get into the metaverse. Okay, taking a look. Let me see if I can get Imagine AI. I don't know if that's a crypto or a company. Okay, so this is a small cap versus ETH. Okay, so with stuff like this, this is what I'm telling people about AI, right? Again, not my area of expertise necessarily, but I have had experience with crazes in tech stocks. Now, if this is attached to a metaverse play, it makes sense. If it's not attached to a metaverse play, or you don't know what it's attached to, or it's someone who says they're in AI, but you can't verify whether they've got the quantity of data to actually make real machine learning and AI, you need to think twice about this. Elon Musk and the guys who invested in AI way back when, they're selling that stuff to people who are trying to like pile in going, oh my God, I missed it. This may actually be the one thing Kramer's right about. Okay, Meta. Okay, remember Facebook? So he spent $9 billion on the metaverse. Meta on a weekly, this is Meta monthly. Let me ask you something. When you're in the metaverse, who are you going to be interacting with? Your next door neighbor wearing VR goggles or artificial intelligence? I think this is the AI play. This is the AI play. I mean, they retraced 76% of the entire up move. They basically assumed these guys were out of business. Okay. Somebody said on AI, people have gotten too bullish too soon. Normally what they do is they kind of price everything in the beginning, and then you have to kind of sort it out later. Okay. Enjin Coin ENJ, you know, again, this was at $4. It's now at 44 cents. I'm not even sure there's anything more to say about it. I mean, there is, of course, but it's like, hey, okay, so an Enjin Coin on a daily chart, there's the 13 top. Okay. It comes off yesterday, but that could have been the dip. Like this DeMark work where it's going north. Yesterday could have been the dip. And you have 5 more up days. Now ask yourself, I mean, this is like a legitimate interrogative, not smartass. If you had 5 more up days in Enjin, or, you know, the bigger the base, the higher in the space in Fantom, Doge, XRP, etc., how big could it be? Okay, somebody says all the meta developers went to Aptos. Okay, I get that. Said, come on, Bill, Cramer's never right. Okay, you are correct. But going back to Meta, all right, Cramer capitulated in this at the low, right? I mean, this poor guy was on television. Okay, Cramer was into Meta up here. Like Cramer was in the whole Kathy Woods, you know, I got destroyed club. So Cramer liked Meta all the way down. Cramer was on television when their earnings came out down here, and the guy got emotional. I was crying. Let's face it. You know, when somebody who's bullish something cries, it's over. It's probably a generational low. So Cramer, unfortunately, was the reverse indicator on this. Now he's kind of like, I still like it. It's not Bitcoin. The point is, the metaverse trade is the AI trade. The NFT trade is the AI trade, because the AI will recognize you based on what NFT you hold. Okay. People asking about Loop Ring. Okay. So while I pull that up, for our friends into BARC, note this is CBS News. New York investors snapping up Colorado River water rights, betting on an increasingly scarce resource. Yeah, that's why we want to put it on the blockchain. That's why we want a decentralized commodities exchange, so everybody is not at the mercy of BlackRock or whoever else wants to snap up water rights, housing, etc. Sorry, mini rant. Back to our show. Okay, Baby Whale is here. Welcome. Hey, let's check out Loop Ring. Okay, so let's do some hidden pivot analysis. This is the daily chart. Note how they rush this thing up, drop it down, but then it's back again. I mean, people think that they know what a top looks like. This is not a top. Now, Loop Ring is going to have resistance at 37 cents. If Loop Ring does not have resistance at 37 cents, then what I like to say is it's doing a phantom. Okay. So there's a difference between a top and a pause, right? They like to call it a local top. Okay. A local top means you're going to get a tidy opportunity to buy it back. You get an opportunity to buy all this stuff back at lower prices like ETH at 1460. It'll be so scary you won't want to buy it. And I don't even think that happens. I think yesterday was the dip. Hence the title of the stream, Up Only, with a big pickle for anybody who thinks that Jerome Powell is going to hike rates and keep crypto down. That's incorrect. Any thoughts on smart contract peer-to-peer lending narrative? Let's put it this way. Whatever they did for the first round of DeFi, if they can just not do that, there's room for innovation. The good news about any type of narrative that comes out for crypto lending is that disaster is discipline, right? So when you have disaster like last year, people are not going to tolerate banking, lending. Then they're not going to tolerate frivolous ideas. So if they can actually get something off the ground, like peer-to-peer lending on a blockchain is going to have a use case this time. It's not just going to be about liquidity and FOMO. Mr. Khan is here. Okay. So he thinks the price of BTC and ETH are too high. Fair enough. You know, you can always get a dip. I know people who will just let things go until they actually dip and they won't buy it, even if the dip is much higher than where we are right now. There's nothing wrong with that. Probably the biggest sin in crypto is like getting people to FOMO into the high before it gets dropped. I get that. I actually did that a couple times. So I want to avoid that mistake. I also want to avoid the mistake I made in 2009 and 2010 when I stayed bearish, not realizing that the whole world had shifted when the Fed started to do QE and was intent on driving equities higher. In this case, millionaires, institutions are all going to buy crypto, and there's no supply because everyone who has sold already sold, and there's no supply. So everyone's going to be like, well, I'm going to wait until the Fed is over. Okay. You and everybody else. So when everybody waits for the Fed is over and the Fed is over and they don't change their stance and they keep rates higher for longer or whatever they're going to tell you, they're not going to say, hey, everybody, let's have a pivot party. No. They're going to stay with the same sourpuss line. Fine. Let these guys do their job. Let them do their job to the best of their ability. That's being polite. If you want to be not polite, you say, well, you know what? The price of eggs and the fact that there was a fire in an egg warehouse yesterday is not going to get solved by higher rates. Okay. Hey, somebody's talking about Audius. Talking to Crypto Keep on Debate Crypto yesterday. He's a big Audius guy. Okay. Trying to get my Audius chart up here. Give me a second. This was abandoned and left for dead. Again, a weekly chart or even a monthly chart. I mean, do you realize that this thing, when it came out, was like at 16 cents? Currently, it's at 27. I mean, I don't know if you need fancy quant TA to know that this week was probably the dip in Audius. The next levels are 39 and 79. And again, just take the DeMark work off of it. I mean, my God, would you look at what they did to this thing? They took it down, they dropped it, and they just left it there for dead. I don't think decentralized anything is dead. I don't. And everybody says Web3 is cringy. All right. Let's call it decentralized music, decentralized video, decentralized water trading. Right? If you look at Audius like it was a technology investment, right? That's not, people are not looking at altcoins. The answer to my girlfriend's question is, why do we need more than one coin? It's because we need technological innovation. We need technological innovation. Okay, so moving into like the request phase, somebody's asking about GMX. Okay, so this is like where we go into things where like I don't necessarily know what the coins are. I just do the chart work. So in GMX, you could have 2 more updays because you're on a DeMark 7. Okay. If you get those 2 more updays, especially since this has been up only since November, those 2 updays may be very big because you've got a lot of things here, but you haven't had a blow off top. So if there is a blow off top, I don't know, 75 is possible. Caroline is like, how much did I miss? Caroline, you haven't missed a thing. And if you did, let me just give it to you in simple terms. This is Bitcoin Weekly. Bitcoin is breaking out the same way it broke out in March of 2020. Bitcoin could hit 39K by April and 70K by the end of the year. And who's talking about that? Nobody. Technological investments in altcoins are not appreciated by the market at this time. Like, I replied to a tweet this morning. Let me see if I can find what I replied to. There we go. I'm not sure it shows up on my feed or not, but somebody said the bear market is over. And it was an unpopular opinion. I didn't screenshot it. Somebody said the bear market is over and this is a very unpopular idea. I'm like, well, great, because it is over. So if you've, tuned in late, that's the theme. Bear market's over, come get me. Jerome Powell can hike rates, awesome. ETH at 1460. Everybody, including my girlfriend's going to be buying it down there. Right? We're going to have resting orders. Happy Valentine's Day, honey. Here you go. ETH with a 1400 handle. Okay, so Synthetix. Someone's going to rise from the dead from DeFi. They keep doing this bump and run thing on this trend line. I don't know. I'm interested in this. This thing has showed it's got some jump to it. Somebody's going to get their act together from the prior DeFi mess. Someone's going to come back. ICP. Okay, levels in ICP. Okay, $6, obviously. You've got a 9 top and it came off. That's interesting. Right now, if it comes back above $6, you're probably in business. I'm trying to find the previous 4th wave. So in ICP, in Elliot Wave, normally what you do is you retrace the give up trade. That's what I call it. Elliot Wave guys call it the previous 4th. Just Elliot jargon for where the major downtrend started. So that's a nice way of telling you that the previous 4th wave is at 9.8, and at a minimum, ICP should go to 9.8. It started at 3, and I don't see any reason why Bitcoin and Ethereum can't lead, and these technology plays in altcoins can just smoke higher. No one is talking about altcoins as tech investments. Okay? No one is talking about that as a tech investment. They're just not. Okay, let's see what else we got here. XTP. Okay, that's not coming up here. Let's check over on TradingView for XTP. Okay, tap is the symbol. Okay, so that's a rather robust move going on right there. One thing I think you need to be careful of in crypto in general is underestimating what can happen if something just kind of goes sideways like that. Like, I have no idea what this is, and this is obviously not investment advice. Sometimes when something just goes sideways in a box, it's like food for another breakout. And one of the things that can happen tomorrow off this FOMC thing is that, the Fed and the tightening cycle has destroyed any type of speculative or innovative asset. I personally think that's over. It's just a question of what level of volatility you get when it happens. Now, somebody's asking, did you do the Cardano chart that you were advertising earlier? No, I did not. Thank you for reminding me. I teased it. This Cardano monthly chart is unbelievable. So I don't talk about this much, but these blue bars, they come from Bill Williams' analysis. They're called squat bars. It's got a complicated quantitative formula. So frequently when you get a squat bar, you're either in the middle of a trend or frequently you're at the end of a trend. Now, previous squat bars in Cardano on the monthly chart have not been useful, but I can't help but note that this one occurs on a major Gann line. You've had a major bottom. You've got monthly oscillators really oversold here. And let me ask you this. Who's talking about Cardano being back at $3 1 year from now? Nobody. Now, sometimes you can get smoked with cowboy talk, particularly since, I don't know, sometimes they can have consternation in March, particularly if the Fed just continues on the path that it's on. But, my attitude is if you're getting Cardano below 50 cents, who cares? Now, that's not investment advice. You buy it at 38 cents and it goes to 26 cents, you're going to hate everything. But this to me looks like a false breakdown. This candle right here looks like a bottom. Okay. And, if you go to like even Cardano weekly, I mean, you can't even see how epic this false breakdown was. I mean, they took this thing from 59 cents to 23 cents on a rope, right? Relatively speaking, right? So this was the post-Celsius high, and this was the end of crypto, right? It's over. It's done, right? In other words, let me give you two ideas to believe in. You can believe that the guy that runs Cardano can get it together and this down trade can unwind, or you can somehow believe that this guy is crypto. Like either this is crypto or the guy that runs Cardano is crypto, or Cardano doing something with healthcare or some sort of useful case for blockchain like GLDN and BARC and Cardano and XRP. I actually think all of these things that were invented way back when as useful things for blockchain are about to come back in style with a vengeance. I mean, on a weekly basis in Cardano, just look at the candlesticks. Every time Cardano goes down, somebody's there buying it and bringing it back. And I think this is an underreported story. It's underreported. So is the base in XRP. Okay. So someone's asking about SHIB. A meme coin comeback would be really funny. So SHIB on a weekly chart. Okay. I don't see anything exciting here one way or the other. Let's go to DeMark. Okay, let's try SHIB monthly. Okay, nothing on SHIB monthly, SHIB weekly. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. The support, okay, using the zeros was 979. And the resistance is back where it was in April. So how about this? How about 5 more up weeks in SHIB? Okay. 5 more up weeks in SHIB. Okay. Pancakes and Peanut Butter is here reminding you to hit the like button. DYDX. Wow. This decentralized derivatives theme, if this doesn't stop at 375, I mean, look at this. Just look at this, man. You had a 13 bottom in DYDX in December, and DYDX was one of the things that was leading the way out. It's been a leading indicator for a while. So the bottom was confirmed the first week in January with the close at $1.50. All right, yeah, it's now at $3. DYDX was as high as 20. So if you get any type of decentralized derivatives improvement in the tokenomics, whether it's this, maybe it's GMX, okay? Okay, Luke is here. He may have missed some of the stream. Don't worry, sir. You're right here. Okay, here's what we're doing today. Instead of being long bugs, short crypto, we're going to be short bugs, long crypto, not investment advice. My readers, my listeners are not going to eat bugs. They're going to own crypto and be free. Okay. New York investigators snapping up Colorado water rights. The same guys that are taking your water away are the same guys telling you to eat bugs. Bugs or Bitcoin sounds like a title for a future live stream. So if you tuned in late, you haven't missed a thing. You haven't missed a thing. Celer Network. Okay, Celer Network today was this week was probably the dip. Okay, 0.019 is the resistance. And again, this was at 18 cents. It's now less than 2 cents. And you got to ask yourself, when it goes up, how much can it go up? It doesn't have to go up every day, but when it goes up, can you go up in 25% increments? Can you sprint like, okay, we're going to go up for 3 days in a row and all these altcoins are going to go up 10%. Okay. Okay. So the graph resistance at 10 cents. Okay. You would have to be a big believer in this. Multicoin Capital is, or at least I think they are. I think this is the type of thing that you buy when it breaks out above 10 cents. Don't buy this below resistance. Now, if you've been holding this, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't hold it for another 4 weeks because you're at a DeMark 5 and you may wind up at a DeMark 9. So you got 4 more up weeks to take a shot. In other words, profit taking, yes. I mean, if you get some huge move in some coin that you buy, please feel free to take the profit. I'm a big proponent of risk management. I was the sell in May and go away guy last year, and now I'm like just basically, in my mind, bulls should be active on dips, because if you prove to yourself that this is a turn in the market by being able to buy a dip and make money, then that sets you up to buy other dips, because there will always be dips. The question is from what level? So AAVE, again, right, the previous fourth wave. See if I can find this on the daily chart. Oh, I can't even find the previous fourth wave on this. Okay, no previous fourth wave to locate in AAVE. What there is in AAVE is resistance at $93.08, $93.80. That was obviously a resistance point before this brutal FTX drop. Here's the 13 top in AAVE, but it's not backing off. It's not backing off. Now, if you suffered for years with AAVE, should you get out? I got an idea. Why don't we have a little faith? I mean, AAVE was at $94 in December of 2020. Now, some of this D wave does not look particularly exciting to me, but am I really going to tell you that there's going to be a new low in AAVE? Does that make sense? Or is this like, this is where it started. This was the FOMO up, and now this has been a giant base since Celsius. Somebody is going to emerge out of this in DeFi as a place where people who buy crypto can go and at least get what I would call basic banking services. Okay, QNT talked about that with Crypto Keep yesterday. Basically, I'm a big believer that if QNT can stay above 140, got a lot more upside. Okay, Optimism, a lot of these other coins, very same thinking, similar thinking. So this is hidden pivot analysis. QNT has been highly volatile. QNT has a good marketing budget, so I guess that could account for its rally. But if QNT is holding above 140 and the network of alternative payment systems or alternative trading systems take hold, do not see why this thing cannot go to $280. Seriously. Okay, Jassim says, what time tomorrow? Okay, we're aiming for 2 to 2:30 Eastern. That's what we're aiming for. So we're a new channel. Okay, render we covered. Very constructive. Must it up only sounds like the Great Depression. If it is the Great Depression, the Fed is taking rates to zero. The day we find out what the Fed broke, or the day we find out what Putin broke because of the Ukraine war, in other words, is he trying to really invade Ukraine and take it over, or is he trying to break the Western financial system? The day we find out what is going to break, that's the day when everybody realizes they need crypto. I'm trying to get you in advance of that. Okay, so SFP, no sign of a blow off top yet, although it's probably coming. This looks like a big rounding bottom. Okay, there was this big rally in November that got faded. There's a DeMark point up here at 72 cents. And I'm guessing if we go up only post-Fed, everybody who missed the dip, everybody who didn't buy the drop in the fall will probably FOMO in to 72 cents. Bart is here. Welcome, right? Welcome. Can you do Ethereum Classic? I'd be happy to. Okay, so when you have Ethereum Classic, the prior ceiling at $21 is now a floor. Okay, the previous fourth wave, which in English is the minimum retest you should get, even if it's still a bear market. The minimum retracement you should get is to the previous fourth wave. I'm guessing Ethereum Classic goes to $27. Yesterday, they drop it, and no, they take it up, they drop it. They drop it, they drop it. It's not going below the old ceiling. Somebody is down there buying these cryptos. Somebody is doing like a future of technology play. Now, is that going to last forever in crypto spring? No. In other words, I'm not a big believer in like, I don't know, 6 months of nonstop alt FOMO. I think you can have a monster like 3 months in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay. In these coins, you got to make the money and you got to make it quick because the moves are going to be quick, right? Something's going to go up 30% or 50% or 300% in altcoins. Just going to do it because no one owns it, right? You can tell when you look at this whether or not somebody owns it or doesn't own it. Okay, Pancakes and Peanut Butter says the Fed and Powell must pivot or they will crash the world's $100 trillion worth of debt. This is their last hike, 25 basis points, and then they stop, period. I love you, man. That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay, Federal Reserve, I'm over it. People telling you to eat bugs, I'm over it. People thinking that SBF and FTX are the future of crypto, no. Over it. People who think that you can't buy crypto because regulation is coming, no, I'm over it. Crypto is about freedom. When Jerome Powell steps up to the mic, I don't care what he says. There's nothing smart for him to say. If he says, I made a mistake, that's great. Okay. But that doesn't make this past behavior look smart. If he says, I'm not changing my past behavior, that's definitely not smart. Now, can they hit the market on that? Yeah. If they take ETH down to 1450, I'll see you down there. This is Bill Noble. I will see you tomorrow.